Hello everyone, it's Amy and I'm back for part 2. Okay, we already did part 1, which was my desk over here. So as we go forward from my desk, here I have all of my, well, most of my wood mount stamps, and on the top I have all of my Christmas ones, and then just I have them on this as a DVD case. And what I did so that I could see all of my stamps is get in here kind of close. The very first row of stamps is sitting on the shelf, and then this is 1-inch styrofoam. And let me see if I can get in here and get one of these off. And so what I did was I did it at, I think it was like 2 inches, and then 5 inches, and then 7 inches. There's another one back there. So it was 2, 5, and 7. And so what that did, because that's 1 inch wide, is it made it so that I could stack my stamps there and still see the stamps that are behind it. So it's just like a little, I did it like stair steps basically. And I have that all the way down on each one of the shelves. I did those because that was the only way I could figure out exactly how I would see my stamps. You know, I didn't want them buried. I wanted them to be all visible. So that's most of my wood stamp storage. Well, I guess I can't say most, because then these drawers here, these were wedding invitations that I got at the Dollar Tree for $1 a box. I kept all of the invitations and all of the envelopes and everything that I can use in crafting. And then I made this shelf unit that holds the boxes. And then each box, this is really hard to do one-handed, has wood stamps in it. And then I have them all marked by what's inside the box, like sentiments and vintage Victorian, animals, holidays. And so those are all wood stamps also. And they each have a shelf between them, so I can just easily slide out each box. Because, you know, the one thing that I've learned is when I stack stuff on, I don't mind moving something out, but I hate to take the top of a stack off to get to what's underneath of it. So I like shelves. Now these 5 on the top are, yeah, there's 5 there. Those ones I got at a different time, and so they don't actually have shelves between them because I already had this unit built. And this I just made out of a cardboard box that we got big mailboxes in. And then I made a frame for it, basically a skeleton out of this very thin wood. And this skeleton goes all the way to the bottom, all the way around. And then I covered it with the tissue paper paint technique because I love to do that. It also makes it stronger than what it would be without being covered. So I made that base, and that kind of looks like this. And I usually, when I make, excuse the dogs, they're deciding it's time to play. Usually whenever I make my boxes, I always put a foot on the base like that there on the bottom, because that keeps it from tipping forward. And so usually I have things up against a wall or something so they're not going to tip backwards. And then in this maroon box, this is full of all different kinds of the flat back pearls, the different shapes and colors and that type of thing, and then just a basket on the top with most of my big background stamps on it. And then again I have another decorative thing up there with some perler beads there, and then behind the little horse is all kinds of my twine. I don't have a lot of twine, so I keep it up there in that back corner. And then there's a little bit behind the little violin also. So that's as we come into this area. And then on this side, next to my desk, there's the little box that I put the little giveaway up on that holds my small foam stamps that I made a la Nina Rabina. And so that box I had to make to go there because I needed a way to store those stamps, because if they sit on top of each other and dent each other like with the wood base, if that were to push into the foam core, it would get marks in it and you wouldn't be able to use them anymore because that mark would show in your stamping. So I made that box to hold my little stamps. And then there's just 3 little books there that I made out of the matchboxes underneath that. And then I have one of these color carts, and what I use in here is I use this to store all of my scrap paper. It's very accessible. I make sure that I keep it accessible because then if I need a little bit of red, little bit of pink, whatever, I just go over and grab it. I did mark the top of all the drawers, and I did the drawers color-coded, you know, red, orange, green. But like there is no yellow, so the second orange is yellow. The second red is specialty papers, which is like gold. There's book pages in here, just papers that don't really have a place to go. And then we've got green, and then we've got brown, and blue with black, and purple with white. Oh, and I see that those got mixed up. That's funny. I just noticed that on the camera. So, and that's on roller, so that makes it easy to get to my bookshelf that's behind there. And on top of that bookshelf, I have little glass jars that are full of all different types of dice, marbles, Scrabble tiles, little teeny tiny kids' toys, just all sorts of things like that that I like to collect. Again, like I said, I like the miniatures. The horse there, my daughter Woodburnt, my youngest, and then I have a great big wooden dice there. So, and to get into this cupboard, it's not hard. I don't have to move the papers to get into it. I can get into it by just moving the curtain. But I'm going to turn this off really quick, and I am going to move the paper cart because it will be easier to show you everything that way. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the shelving unit that started this whole cleanup. I needed to get all of those binders there together in one spot because I only had, on the shelf behind me, I had a half of a shelf that I could put my binders on. And I had bought a bunch of D-Stash clear stamps, and I needed to put them in binders, but then I didn't have any place to put the binders once I put the stamps in. So I had to switch things all around. Now these are all together, and I better be careful about buying any more because they're pretty much full. So the way that I did this is I just put the binders here, and each one of the binders is labeled. So the different things that are in there are marked on the binder, so I kind of have an idea of what's in there. If I'm looking for a butterfly, or you know, if I'm looking for a sentiment or something, it's all on there. And then the way that I do them, just pull one out here. Try not to do this too shaky. The way that I do them is I just have a clear sheet. This is just a plain clear sheet, not a pocket. And I just tape to the back of this sheet. I tape the, what would you call that? The index of the stamps so that you can see it. So I just tape that down and put it right on the clear plastic so that when you're going through you can just see it. And then I put a white sheet of cardstock between them to divide them. It makes it a whole lot easier to see because if they're just in there one right after another, they all blend in together because they're clear. So that's just how I put all of my binders together. And these clear sheets are like overhead projector sheets, the ones that you write on the overhead projector. Oh goodness, trying to get that back in there now one-handed. And knock the curtain rod off while I'm at it. So those are my clear stamps. And then on the next one down, I do have some holiday and miscellaneous stamps that I couldn't fit on that shelf up there. This is my en masse, the book that I'm going to put it in, and my cutouts, but I have not started it yet. My security envelope cutouts are in there. These are blank stencil pages and the things that I use for that. These are all of my handmade stencils, and these are some things that go with the stencils and some ideas that I have. I have this little basket here that hangs on the shelf above it, and that's all of my jelly printing things, a 3-hole punch for my stencils, and then below that on the shelf below it I have my jelly plates, and then I have some of the tissue there. the paints I've been using on my jelly plates. I just hung my water there off the basket. So all the jelly plate stuff is together. And on the next shelf down, these are all paint items. I have foam brushes there in the blue box, and stir sticks and little spoons, small containers to hold paints in, foam stamps, the heavy duty ones that you like get at the store. And then down there it's just a bunch of miscellaneous things that I use with painting. These are my extra paints that I have. Not new, they're used. It just depends on what comes out at what time. And up here I have some little bottles with very fine points that I use for different painting things. And on the next shelf down I have styrofoam palettes. That's all there. And then my plastic palettes are over there. Some squeeze bottles for paint. More foam brushes, sponges, and little cups and stuff to put paint in. And then I did fit in here both of my boxes of paper that I got for the jelly plate. Oh, I can't get in there, but it's the kind with those little holes on it that you used to use in printers. So I got both of those, one at a yard sale and one at a clearance store. So this all was different when I started and got all rearranged. So, but that feels good now and it's all in the same place. And then as we go from there, this is my front door, which Papa doesn't like that I have it blocked off, but I tell him really that there's not that much in front of it. Next to the bookcase here, this is all tall things and bulky things that I really don't have a place to put them, so I store them there. And that's a 360-degree easel there to hold your painting so you can turn it all the way around while you're using it. Then behind that was a CD rack. And I just made little boxes to go in there. I just kind of measured and fussed with it till I got one that fit, and then I used that for a pattern. But I just put those little boxes in. That's just got all different sorts of things that I made for a craft show, and that's some of the things that I have left. Those are flowers that I've made. I watch Mind Illusions. She makes great flowers, and that's where I get my ideas for those. On top, I just have this little box that I made, and then a couple of little jars that I hold the pearl strings in, but not the flat backs. And then in here, I just have like flower centers and things that I have made. And these are some, oops, my battery's low, it says. These are some little wooden buttons that I made. My washi tape holder is here on a Lazy Susan. I just thought these were gorgeous. I got them at a garage sale. Don't have a use for them at this point in time, but I really like them. Then in this box is my red line tape, my mounting squares, just a pretty tray. In these boxes, this is leaves, and these three are all double-sided sticky stuff. These two boxes here are some Jesse James beads. And then in the bottom here is just some alterables. Then here I have these little bamboo type placemats. These make great paintbrush holders, and they also make great if you need a little tiny stick. You just with one of those you've got hundreds of little tiny sticks. So I just keep those. And then this one is made out of, this is a placemat that's made out of beads. And I just keep those there in that little basket, which I thought is pretty. And then this is my 6x6 paper pad holder, which I just made out of a box. And again, I just covered it with the tissue paper and glue thing. And I didn't even have enough 6x6 paper to fill it when I made it. And now it's over full, so I need to stop buying I need to stop buying anything. So in that tin back there, that's from Schwann's, and my husband used to sell Schwann's ice cream, so we got that at a garage sale actually. But in there I have a lot of rocks from my daughter's wedding. They were in the bottom of all of the vases and everything. So, and then over here, next to the door and across from the other, is another bookcase with a curtain. Hanging on there is my tablecloth that I use when I film on the table with Papa. And then on top of that is just a bunch of glass items, little candle holders and that type of thing. Don't ask me why. Look, there's a pot maker. Don't tell anybody. I think that it make little pots from newspaper that you can plant in the ground in the spring, it says. So, and in here, this is my messy one, I have my cardboard, mailing envelopes, and then I have my tissue paper here on the top, books, and, you know, these kind of holders, clipboards, more envelopes, but not mailing envelopes because they don't have the padding. And below that, I just have a roll of this paper, turquoise and gold paper. Lots of different types of binders for different types of storage. And then these are just like completed projects, the leftovers, and patterns and that type of thing. Legal paper here. This is just sticky paper. Large construction paper that's too large to fit anywhere else. And then I have, these are all rolled papers, and this is sticky paper. These were, I was going to do the, I don't remember what it was, but where you were cutting the pictures out of the magazines and they each went into one of these folders, and I got the folders made and that's as far as I got. And then these are all folders and more folders here. And then here, this is just paper from where I used to work. We moved and it had the wrong address on it, so that was nice letterhead. So I used that, and then just extra papers there, scrap papers. And then down below, these are just all naturals, which is, they're bits of wood. And these are little carving shavings. This is some moss. Those are, this is trees. This is from a coconut tree when we went to California. And little seeds of something. And these are some really cool pine cones that we got that are really, really long when we went to California. This is birch bark and moss. Just all different types of natural things. Because I like to make stuff with that sometimes. And then down below here, it's just more. Just acorns, acorn tops. These are nuts that Papa cracked for me, walnuts, and it's the shell. And then these tins are just full of shells. And these are little seeds of some sort. And then in this one, it's all seashells from when we went to California. So that's what's in this corner. We'll just shut this up. So this is part 2, and this sits next to my desk when you come into my room. Oops, and I just made a mess. I was moving the rolly cart, but I wasn't looking where I was going. So this is part 2, and this is just mostly all storage in here. And my wood stamps and the way that I store those. I do have a few more in one more place. And then over here is my ladder to get to the things that are way up by the roof. And we'll go to the next section, which is over that way, when I get done putting this one up. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, just go ahead and ask. I know I kind of am rushing through it, but excuse me. There's so much to show you, I don't know exactly what anyone would want to see. So, if you come up with anything, if you have any questions, just ask. And when I'm all done at the very end, if there's other things that people wanted to see or insides of things that people wanted to see, I'll show you those at the end. Oh, and up there, those are my ribbon storage. Those are on just big round rings, like keychain rings, that I got at the secondhand store. And they only had one really big one and 2 medium-sized ones. or I would have got a whole bunch more because it fits on there so perfectly. And then it's just sitting on a shower curtain rod that goes across there. So thank you very much for watching. I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.